Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much once again for joining Latin NCAP, the publication of results. In this opportunity is going to be phase 8 and the 8th publication of the year 2017. And with that, we are going to start with the video presenting the latest results for 2017 on Latin NCAP. The vehicle tested is a Renault Kwid, made in Brazil, 4 airbags as standard. This vehicle also offers ISOFIX anchorages as a standard equipment, and the result achieved by this car is the following, now being displayed on the screen. It's a 3 stars protection for adult, 3 stars protection for child occupants, and we can see the color dummies, a brown chest on the side impact, even with a side airbag. That achieved a weak protection for the chest, but now we're watching the frontal test. Good performance in the structure, good performance in the belts and the pretensioners. The airbag in the steering wheel just prevented almost a bottoming out. That didn't happen. So good protection also in the frontal for the passenger, the frontal passenger, the adult passenger, thanks to the belt and the airbag as well. Knee areas showed some risks that were detailed in the publication. We are now watching the frontal view of the crash test. Good performance in the structure, good performance in the footwell area as well, both of them stable. We are now watching at the Q1.5 with the children. Both of the children were installed in child seats that were using ISOFIX anchorages, which comes standard for this version of the car for Brazil and for all Latin America. Good protection in the frontal for both child occupants. We are now watching the top view of the frontal crash test. Once again, the structure shows a good performance. It's rated stable, and this during the crash test. We are now watching for the side impact of the car, and we are going to be able to take a look at a closer view from the adult. And then in the next view, it's going to be a close view top, where we can see now the deployment of the thorax airbag, thorax side airbag, that prevented a critical injuries during the crash test. Good protection also on the side impact for the child occupants, who are now watching the Q1.5, or the 1.5-year-old, and now the 3-year-old dummy. Both of them received good protection, and once again the child seats were installed using the ISOFIX anchorages. The performance of the B-pillar prevented a further penetration of the cart in the side impact, and the thorax airbag gave just a weak protection in this crash test. But it's also important that this side thorax airbag prevented further injuries, and prevented, of course, in this case, together with the structure, to have a red chest, a potential red chest with high risk of life-threatening injuries. In this case, this was prevented thanks to the side thorax airbag. So the result for this Renault Kwid, Brazilian version for all Latin America, basic equipment, 4 airbags, 2 in the front, 2 in the side, is 3 stars for adult occupant protection, 3 stars for child occupant protection. It is extremely relevant from Latin NCAP view, the improvements that this vehicle showed since the first version of the Kwid that was worldwide presented the first time in India at the beginning of 2016, tested at the beginning of 2016 by Global NCAP. It is highly remarkable the way that Renault improved this vehicle for the Latin American market. We have noticed improvement in the structure, structural reinforcements, standard ISOFIX anchorages, and of course overall performance in the frontal crash test compared to the Indian version was much more improvement comparing both models, and the side impact also offered protection, enough protection to prevent high risk of life-threatening injuries in the adults, and front and side crash for the child occupants offered a good protection. The reason for the 3 stars in the child occupants in this case, it's the lack of 3-point belts in all seating positions. But once again, it's extremely important to underline and highlight the improvement that Renault brought to this model from the Indian version first tested some months ago to this version now available for Brazil and the Latin American market. Latin NCAP is encouraged with this kind of results. We also, the other way around, we encourage all car manufacturers to improve their cars, bring better safety. This is an entry-level car in Brazil. This vehicle is one of the cheapest new cars in the Brazilian market, and they could achieve a good protection for front and side for adults and child occupants as well. So we encourage all manufacturers in the market to improve their vehicle safety as soon as possible and bring safer cars for Latin America. We thank you very much for your attention. We are now finalizing this publication of results. Next publication is planned for the first half of December 2017. So thank you very much for joining. Before we say goodbye, we would like to thank very much to our supporters, Bloomberg Philanthropies, FI Foundation, Global NCAP, ICRT, and the IADB. Thank you very much, and we hope to find once again your support in the next presentation. We would like to also thank very much to all of you that have been following us and supporting Latin NCAP as consumers and as manufacturers as well. Thank you very much, and see you next time.